Go hard and in-depth.
The real discourse and commentaries right here
On Nigeria Info.
This is a clear situation of Kodima and Kodima area.
What kind of marriage is that?
You are not with marriage. Is that like now what?
Isn't there a tradition like when you're pissed you can walk away? You don't have that tradition?
Okay, Lagos, Nigeria, wherever you're listening to us from in the world, welcome back to Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders. Now, we've been to Ramallah. Now we're coming back to Africa. Specifically, we are venturing to Congo. Let me give you some stats. Over 20 million murdered. 8 million amputated over 30 years. 25,000 children exported to Belgium, France, Luxembourg for human exhibition, zoo-like settlements. The West has continued to destabilize this country since 1950. Congo, that's the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, is the richest African country. Last count of the Western theft of its natural resources stands at a staggering $250 trillion since 1927, when gold was first excavated. The silence of the world and the Western powers is an indictment and its complicity to the degradation of this beautiful country and the people. Most of the gorillas, chimps in zoos around the world are from Congo. Need I continue? My friend wrote. I hate the AU for sweeping Congo as an issue for repatriation under the table. My guest is the co-founder and CEO of Refugee Partners and Helpers. He's also a businessman. However, he's here today to talk to us about Congo, Africa, the second largest country in Africa and the 11th largest in the world. And why, how, who, responsible, not responsible, has been causing Congo to bleed for decades. Stephen, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, I've got to say, my listeners have to know, I follow you on Instagram, and every time I have seen one of your posts, I freeze. I literally freeze because we can't even share them on our handle. It's really that graphic and it's that horrid, it's that atrocious, it's that, it's human wickedness to human. Tell us, when did this whole Congo disaster genocide begin?
Thank you very much for inviting me here. The pleasure is all mine. I would like to start with that. And I really appreciate that you follow me on Instagram. But the problem with that, and I don't even know how to say it. If you really think that's graphic what you see on Instagram, that means you haven't seen more. Because there are many videos even for myself I see and I can't even sleep, and I'm not even able to post them on Instagram because they can just take down the account, and I can really let them do that because what we're doing is way bigger than anybody, and taking it down would mean a lot of bad things for many other people who rely on us for information and many other resources that we provide to them. So the conflict in Congo really started during colonialism, because that's where all the things started, especially in Africa, because many countries went through wars when it comes to Africa. Yes, I know many countries around the world experienced colonialism, but I would say that when it comes to the African continent, it was worse than any other countries. And when it gets to Congo, it was even worse. But the reason many Congolese or activists or people who are trying to raise awareness don't really talk much about the colonial time is because we get in that box that we've all experienced it, which means sometimes we put it aside to discuss what came after. So, and that's what we really kind of focus on, but without really taking consideration that it all started from the colonialism and the Western countries occupying all those territories and all that and dividing the population within the country. And it always becomes very easy in Congo because of how many tribes we have in Congo. So we have around 500 tribes, and many of those tribes have their own dialects or languages that they speak, have their own cultures. So dividing us, and I think this situation is not just in Congo, many countries also in Africa have many tribes. It was very easy to divide us, and it really worked because a lot of atrocities that you've been seeing on the internet and all that, they come, especially in Congo, they come from that division and from one tribe wanting to kill another, one tribe wanting to kick another from the land or something like that. So a lot of people have died, as you mentioned in statistics and all that. But these situations that we're dealing with today started in 1996. And in 1996, it started as after the colonialism, after the independence of Congo, which happened in 1960. We elected or we nominated our first prime minister, who called Lumumba, Emery Patrice Lumumba. I know that name is a little bit popular, but he was killed few months after being nominated because he was too patriotic for them to keep him around. So after that, another president took over called Kasavubu, who led the country for the next 5 years. And after him, he was removed by a coup by the famous Mobutu, who led the country from 65 to 1997 after being removed by another president called Laurent Desire Kabila. Anyway, that's where it all started. It started as a war to remove Mobutu from the dictatorship leadership, and the killing has never stopped since then.
The killing has not stopped since then. I want you all to remember that. The killing has not stopped since then. Now, let's talk about economy, because we know where there is atrocities, where there's genocide, where there are killings, especially in particular, where the oppressed, where people, human beings are being oppressed, there's always a money aspect to it. And it's either small money or international money. Most of the time, it's international money. Talk to us about the international money that is being made as a result of the lives and the bloods of the Congolese people.
So yes, when it comes to when it comes to many countries in Africa, it always comes down to money. It comes down to resources, to natural resources, and all that. We see a lot of countries like Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and many countries right now fighting it really very good. Sometimes I wish we had someone like that in Congo. But again, when you think about it, because when Burkina Faso is fighting about it, is just focusing on gold or uranium because that's the mineral they have. But in Congo, we have over 1,000 different minerals, which means we are not just, they can't stop because they rely on us too much. Because if they can get gold from Burkina Faso, they can get it from Congo and many other countries, because it's a mineral that can be found in many countries. But what we have in Congo, like cobalt and coltan, those are the resources that they can find anywhere else, which means
that they cannot, you mean the resources that they cannot find anywhere else, correct?
So what I mean is that they can find them somewhere else, but it's not that much because
Right.
Congo has the 80% of the whole coltan around the world comes from Congo. 80%, and we have, you know how many countries we have in the world. So when 80% of that specific mineral comes from one country, it's like it comes from just one country, and it's the same statistics when it comes to cobalt. And cobalt is what's being used to make all these electrical cars that we're using right now. They're relying on it to do the green, or turning back to from the engines and going to the electrical stuff. So they rely on it too much to just not give Congo what they need, which is very hard for us to escape that.
So let me come into that. Let me interrupt you there. So we have, out of 195 countries, Congo has the largest accumulation of cobalt, right? That in the world, the world. That is out of the 195 countries that we have in the world.
Yeah.
Now, technically, that should be a good thing. Technically, that should mean that Congo has close to 1%, 2% unemployment. Technically, that should make Congo one of the richest countries, and probably richer than America, because everybody wants cobalt. Apple, Samsung, all the technology is built on cobalt. Now, why is Congo not gaining from that? Or is it that the government is gaining from that and the people are not?
So you are correct. It was really, and I've been saying this, a country that was supposed to be the richest in the world is the poorest in the world. A country that these minerals were supposed to be a blessing for Congolese people, but it has become like a curse. Because as regular people, sometimes I feel like, because you can see 10 million people being killed like that. You can see millions of people being out of a country like refugees. Like myself, I've been a refugee for over a decade, living in tents and all that kind of life, lacking all the basic necessities that any person need to survive. So when you live that life and you are a regular person, you're not really gaining anything from minerals. Instead of even gaining anything, it's causing you suffering and pain. Sometimes we feel like it's a curse, and I wish like we never had it. There are times I really wished we never had it. If it meant we would have peace like anybody else. Yes, these minerals were supposed to be our blessing, but they have made them our curse, our suffering, our pain. Because
who can we blame for that, though, Stephen? I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. So who do we blame for that? Do we blame the Western companies, or do we blame the government, or do we blame both?
I love that question very much, because I never get to be asked that question. So I blame the government of Congo more.
Why?
Because the government is the same situation with the governments of many countries in Africa. I blame them more because it's their responsibility to protect their citizens. It's also their responsibility to protect their borders and all the natural resources they have within the country. It's their responsibility, and that's why we elect them to protect all those things. So when they fail to do it, and so I'm sure if you've been following about Congo, you've heard about Rwanda.
Of course.
Rwanda is
that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, absolutely. Rwanda is a very small country. It has almost no natural resources.
Zero natural resources. Zero.
Yeah, zero. Yeah, it has. But if you check the statistics, you do your research, you will find out that in 2021 or 2022, Rwanda was among the countries that sold or exported many natural resources outside of in Africa.
Where did they get that from? Where are they getting it from?
Yeah, where do they get them? So it's easy to understand because they don't have them. So where do they get them? Which brings me to that question. Do I blame the Western countries for everything they've caused us? Absolutely. Do I blame the Rwandan government for supporting some rebel groups and causing suffering? Absolutely. Do I blame other countries who are supporting the same genocides happening in Congo? Because there are many countries involved. It's just not the Western countries, because what Congo has, every country, every person wants to get their hands on them. But I blame Congo more. I blame us, our government more, because it is one of the most corrupt government that I've ever heard of or seen, because they are the worst. So I really blame them more, because if they were they cared about citizens, yes, maybe we would be in this situation, but it wouldn't be this worse. Yes.
Indeed. Let's talk about the phones, right? Especially in America. I believe there was a court case recently in the US. I think it was against Apple about using child labor, or at least benefiting from child labor, which again is used to mine cobalt. And you know that the judge ruled in favor of Apple. Are you aware of that case, and what do you think will happen next, or what should happen next? Will there be an appeal? Is there some sort of discussion with Apple? And if I may ask, why shouldn't we hold Apple responsible for what's going on especially with the children of Congo?
So, first of all, I want to say that everything that's happening in Congo is related to cobalt and coltan more than other minerals. And don't let anybody else tell you anything else, because that's where that's the cause of everything that we're experiencing in Congo. Because Congo has 11 provinces. We used to have 11 provinces. When I started, we still had 11 provinces, but right now it's 26, including the capital city. But all the wars that I'm telling you from 1996, the war that happened in 1998, in 2001, in 2004, 2007, the 2012, the 2017, which is the situation we are in today. So all those wars start from two provinces only. And the rest of Congo has peace. If you go in Kinshasa, Bandundu, Kasai, and those provinces are at absolute peace. But the war always starts from those two provinces. And those two provinces are the only two provinces that have those two minerals. North Kivu especially has coltan and cobalt, especially coltan. You can find it in North Kivu, but you can find it anywhere else. And it's the same situation with Sud Kivu. And that's where all those wars started. That's where all those minerals, all those millions who died, many of them died from those two provinces, and then it affected the whole country.
Right.
Now, why should I blame Apple? I'm not just blaming Apple. I'm blaming all the companies, because they all, like Tesla, is actually producing, in my point of view, I think it's using more cobalt than any other country, because it's producing
any other organization.
Any other company, because it's using the cobalt more, because it's producing a lot of cars with batteries, because they rely on electricity instead of gas. So it's the same with Samsung. It's the same with, but the reason that a lot of attention is being taken to Apple is because it's also doing too much than other companies. It also relies on the cobalt, on the coltan of Congo more than other countries. And also we are still, our movement of doing this and advocating, raising awareness about these big companies or corporations gaining money at the expense of child labor, millions of deaths, and all that. We kind of have to direct our energy on one company, one by one. We can't direct our energy on all of them. We will fail, because we won't make any difference, really. So yeah, I think, yes, we should definitely do something about these companies, and I don't really blame anybody who's suing Apple, because they are responsible. There's one interview that I saw where the CEO of this company said that starting this year, they started using. They don't require any new minerals. They're now using only refurbished, like they used phones or
Okay, that they're refurbishing the phones, right?
Yeah.
Or refurbishing the materials, right?
Yes. But that's wrong. You can tell me that the phones and accessories that Apple is producing every year is all coming from recycled materials, and even if it comes from recycled materials, all those materials, recycled materials, they used to be new. Where did you get that minerals and how did you get them? It's still the same situation. It's not like you're saying that we're going to be using recycled materials of the phones that we created in 2012, where we got those minerals in a good way without using the child labor and all that. All the stuff that they're using, they got them in not a good way. And the implication of Rwanda and Uganda and a few other countries that I'm seeing that are popping up because they also get a cut, it's that they cause all those suffering in Congo. They control the mining areas. They exploit, like they take out the minerals and then they take them in their Rwanda. They take them in Rwanda, they process them, and they send them in the Western countries. It's not like US is coming and then getting minerals and taking them. They have to have someone from within Africa who will be helping them to transport those minerals, and then they get them. So, and that's how it's been happening since 1996.
Wow. I have a question here. It says, this is Jaja. I want to ask your guest if these minerals are mined out of Congo for free. Aren't there indigenous Congolese who are getting paid for these minerals?
So I wouldn't, because if I said that they're getting them for free, I would be lying. Because if you think about it, they're really not getting them for free. It's just that they're getting them for almost free because they're getting them at a very lower price. And for them to be able, a lot of villages have been destroyed. A lot of villages have been burned. So when they find the minerals under one village, they have to move people. Do they move them correctly? No, they have to cause war for them to leave. And a lot of people are dying. Like you've seen kids digging minerals with their bare hands without using any protective equipment. And all those people who are around those areas, the water have been affected and very destroyed in everything else, because you can live in that environment and not get, but they're getting sick. Nobody is providing aid for them or medical care they need, and the situation is just worse in those areas, and it's happening around everywhere in Congo, because like Katanga, which is another province, is also the big producer of diamond, and it has their problems as well. And we have many other provinces that have their minerals also, like other minerals like gold and all that. They all experience the same situations, because not only does these Western countries want to have hands on them, but we also have over 200 armed groups in Congo. And those arms group, their main goal is to control mining areas, because they want to get those minerals and sell them. And selling them doesn't mean that they're selling them at the right price. They're selling them cheap, and that benefits only these big corporations, because they get the prices very cheap, but they sell their products very expensive. So they're getting whatever they need at the expense of the blood of Congolese, at the expense of the sweat of Congolese, because kids are working all day, 8 hours. A 6-year-old kid is spending a day working in stones, working in narrow holes and all that, because when they dig and they don't have enough equipment, they have to use kids, because an adult can't fit on those in those holes. That's why sometimes they have to use kids to go down there to get whatever they need. So it's very sad what's happening in Congo. Very sad. Indeed. And what's infuriates me the most is that it's not even spoken anywhere.
And that's why we're talking about it here. That's why this is the third time we're talking about Congo and we want to keep talking about Congo, and we're not going to keep talking about Congo. Let's go back to Rwanda. What is the connection with Rwanda, the Rwandan genocide, Tutsi, Hutu, Kagame, and this Congolese genocide? Talk to us about that. We have the M23. You mentioned over 200 militia groups. We have the M23. They say Rwanda is back of it. Rwanda say they're not a part of it. What is Kagame doing? Kagame keeps saying they're going to be defending themselves, etc. Talk to us about that connection.
That's where I get, and sometimes I don't blame Rwanda. The reason, let me start from where it started. In 1994, there was a genocide against Tutsi of Rwanda. And that genocide was committed because in Rwanda they have three tribes. They have Hutu, they have Tutsi, and they have Batwa. So in the terms that you can really understand which is in Africa, so they have Bantu, they have Nilotics, and they have nomads or pygmies.
Right.
The people who came in the country like before anybody else, because that's how some countries call them. Now, the Hutu who were in leadership back then, they didn't want to see Tutsi in the country. So they said, you don't belong in this country. It's either we have to kill you all or you have to leave the country. Now, they really tried because they killed almost 1 million people died in that genocide of 1994. So the Kagame...
That's the Rwandan genocide. Yeah,
that's the Rwandan genocide that we always hear. So now it happened in 1994. It started, I think it started in April and ended in July. Now, the Kagame, with their other people, they fought for against that injustice, which led to them like really winning the battle and then taking over the country. After taking the country, they had a country that has been in a very big genocide. Many people have been died. The people who didn't die, they fled the country. Banks have been robbed and all that. So it's a country that has no natural resources. So their way, they were like, how do we build this country back? Because they find themselves in a box where they don't really have any resource to rebuild the country. But they now remember that, hey, we live in the
next door
of Congo.
We live next door to a lot of resources. Yes.
Yeah, they have everything we need. So now, after figuring out that, they were like, now, how do we go about it? How do we enter the DRC? Because the international law does not just allow one country when they feel like they can just cross over and do whatever they want. So when the genocide of Rwanda was happening against the Tutsi of Rwanda back then, there was also another genocide that was happening for the same people to Tutsi of Congo. So that became a reason for them, because when their facial is almost alike, they speak almost the same languages. They were like, "This is."
Are they not the same people? The Tutsi of Rwanda and the Tutsi of Congo, they're the same people, right? Just in different countries.
Yeah, yes, they look alike.
Right.
So now, they were like, this is the reason we have to enter the Congo. But before learning about this situation or the genocide that was going on the Tutsi of Congo, they also learned that after taking back the country, the people who were committing all these genocides, the Hutu, they fled to Congo. After fleeing to Congo, many of them, because there are others who fled in other countries like Western countries and also Tanzania and many other countries, but many of them fled to Congo. And once they got there, they got support from the France government and also got support from the Congolese government, which was under Mobutu back then. And they started supplying them weapons and also a lot of training so they can come back in Rwanda and take over again. So when Rwanda knew about that, it's like they now had two reasons to enter DRC. One was for natural resources so they can rebuild the country. Two was to neutralize the FDLR, which is the Hutu party that was created within DRC. and they were really organizing them for them to come back. So now they stuck on that point where how do we enter the DRC? So they entered as Tutsi of Congo, and they really manipulated them, telling them, so we know you're being killed. The Tutsi of Congo are not even 1%, I think, of the whole population of Congo. It's like 2% if they're more. Now, they were like, so we know you're being killed, and you're not going to win this war. You have to let us help you. We need to help you. We just won another battle the same way in Rwanda, so we're here to help you. So they kind of work together.
So this is the FDLR.
The FDLR is an armed group from the Hutu, the people who committed genocide in Rwanda.
Yeah.
But they were now in DRC.
Correct.
Preparing to come back in Rwanda.
Yeah.
So what the FPR, which is under the Kagame, the new government of Rwanda. So now they wanted, and the president of Rwanda really said this many times. He said they know FDLR is in Congo even today and is preparing to come back every day. So we won't let them come to Rwanda because Rwanda is a very small country. Once they enter the borders of Rwanda, we won't be able to maintain them. So we have to always go to Congo, which is a very big country, which has a lot of land to fight them. So he's open about that. He always says that. And he asked Congo to send their people back, which is the Hutu of Rwanda, or at least move them back, like away from the Rwandan borders. Because the province they live in is right at the border of Congo. And ask them, at least move them in another province which is a little bit far from the Rwandan government, but the Congolese government can do that. Okay. Now that's how the war of 1996 started. It started as the Tutsi of Congo trying to also defend themselves.
Right.
But when Rwanda entered the fight,
the conflict,
yes. Yeah. They had their own stuff in mind. They did whatever they wanted. Then they even led the country. The general, I think the general of Rwanda called the Kabarebe, I don't know if you can search that person, used to be the leader of one province in Congo called Katanga, which is the province that has the most diamonds in Congo. So they really did a good job. That's why you see Rwanda developed this much. How else can it be? Anyway, so that's
that's the history. That's the history. Well, yes, of course, President Kagame has been very, very, very vocal that he will continue to defend the border. But M23, are they working with Kagame?
So that's the information that I can't really confirm, to be honest with you, but they have to. They have to, because I don't know why they keep saying Rwanda more than Uganda, because when in the war of 1996, so first of all, Uganda is the country that helped Rwanda to get back the country or to end the genocide, which is something that they should actually be appreciated for. And Uganda is also a country that also entered in Rwanda in Congo in 1996. It's not just Rwanda that entered in Congo in 1996. Uganda also entered Congo, but I don't know why somehow Rwanda managed to be more famous than Uganda.
Even today, in this whole conflict,
even today, the Rwanda, yes, if the Rwanda is supporting M23, the Ugandan government must also be supporting them.
Right.
But what they forget, and this is something that many Congolese forget, is the reason why M23 had to exist in the first place.
Tell us.
The Tutsi of Congo, another tribe called Banyamulenge, another tribe called Hema. These are people who are in constant genocide where they are burned, they are killed, they are eaten alive. They are eaten like people. They grab somebody, they burn him.
Who eats them?
Sorry?
Who eats them?
The public of Congolese. I can show you many videos. It's not just that's where it's even creepy and even sad. Because I can show you videos, like not one videos, many videos where a person is grabbed in the public, whether on the street, in the market, or anywhere. they stone him, they burn him, they eat him in the public. Everybody watching, you know. And just
so let me just get this clear for my listeners.
Yeah.
The name of the tribe that is being killed and eaten is what?
Yeah. So there are Tutsi of Congo.
Right. The Tutsi of Congo.
Yeah, there are Banyamulenge.
Bayamulenge.
They are also Hema. So all those three tribes are actually also labeled as the Tutsi of Congo.
Okay.
Almost
So
the same thing.
Right. So the Tutsi of Congo are being killed by the Hutu,
by other tribes.
by other tribes in Congo.
So the reason we have many armed groups like that is because we've gotten to a point where many tribes already have their own
militias, rebels, yes.
So they are doing that in the public, the government watching. Nobody has ever been arrested for it. No one is really talking about it. Even if they weren't even Congolese, who does something like that and then not be prosecuted for it or something like that? And that's where I came back. See, the M23 started as a movement fighting for the rights of the Tutsi of Congo. That's the whole, and also fighting for the peace. Because the Congolese government is now working, I don't know if you've learned about this, the Wazalendo. They're called the Wazalendo or the Patriotics, I think, in English. So Wazalendo is Swahili name. Now, they're now working with the FDLR, which is the rebel group from Rwanda, as I said before. The Congolese government is working with them. It's not just like we are hearing, you know, when we are hearing that Rwanda is supporting M23, it's people saying maybe there are reports and there are confirmation that they're doing that. But the Congolese government provided weapons to FDLR to help them fight the M23. That's one. Second, it combined many armed groups in one umbrella name called Wazalendo. And these armed groups are called Wazalendo to this date. And even the president of the country says these people are patriots of the country. Okay. And those people who never received any military training, the people who have been killing people for many years, they are now able to do it openly because now they are protected by the government. So when they are doing all these atrocities and doing it in the public, no one
says anything. No one
they can do anything. Right now they're being supplied weapons by the government, so who can touch them? You know? This is
really very, very shocking. I mean, it's literally just it's shocking. That's the only word I can think of. Look, you can call me on 0201 277 0993, 0201 465 7190, WhatsApp on 0809 597 5805. I know many of you will have questions, but remember, this is Borderlines. Your name, where you're calling from, and ask your question very quickly. My guest is Stephen Muragwa, who is, if you like, a Congolese activist against the genocide. He's an advocate against the genocide, against the killings, against the economic, the economic atrocities that's going on in his country. He's against all those things. He just wants peace in Congo. I'm coming to your calls now. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
Sir.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah.
My name is Godwin, and good evening to your guest, Mr. Stephen.
Yes, you need to speak up, please, so he can hear you.
It's okay.
Good evening,
Mr. Stephen.
Yes, he can hear you now. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Godwin.
Okay.
From Lakwe.
Okay.
Thank you. In view of the enumerated angles your guest has come up with concerning Congo, looking at Nigeria's situation that we find ourselves, can we see any difference between the way and manner the West, in collaboration with the rulers of Congolese also, can we see that there is no difference compared to what our own ruler in Nigeria are doing. Because
Okay, sir.
our own
I get your
natural
question.
materials- yes, my question is this.
I think that I've gotten your question. Is there a difference? There's no. What you're basically saying is there a difference between what the colonials did to us and what our present rulers did to us? Correct?
There is no difference.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've heard that.
Yes.
So, okay,
Yes.
sir. Let me answer more calls because the lines are
Okay,
going.
thank
Sir.
you.
Thank you, Stephen. You heard that. I mean, hold on to that question. I'll just come to you again. Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good evening. Your name is.
Jonathan is my name.
Go ahead.
Now, CCOD, I want to ask your guest. Good afternoon to your guest.
Yes.
All these experiences that tribe is experiencing, what are the other Africans leaders, what are they doing? Are they hearing that such a thing is happening? Are they just keeping quiet?
Yeah.
Or
Thank
what?
you.
Or that country, is it other West Africa or which country is that?
He's in
Are they
Central
other-
Africa. What's your name again, please?
Jonathan is my name.
Jonathan, thank you. Excellent question. It's part of what I read earlier, and it's a question that I was saving for Stephen. So I'll put it to him. Let me just answer more calls. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Ireti Bakare-Yusuf.
Ireti Bakare-Yusuf. Yes, Ireti. Yes.
I fortified it.
Yes, sorry, your name is? I can't hear you. Your line is low. You need to speak up.
Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Yes. Oh yes, Titilope, good evening. What's your question, please?
Actually, my first question is similar to the question asked by the first caller, and I wanted to ask what is the impact or the influence, directly or indirectly, made by the colonial masters, Belgium, in the activities that culminated in the genocide '94? Because before then, there was a lot of differences, a lot of scuffles between the tribal groups there. So I wanted to talk about that.
Sorry. You want us to talk about, because I think you might have missed it. He talked about. He talked about the history. Belgian. He just didn't mention King Leopold, but we all know who he was talking about.
Exactly.
He talked about it at the beginning.
Yeah, no. I want to ask him the direct or indirect impact made by the colonial masters. What effect did they have on what has happened? That's what I said. Then two, he's talking about the resources there. Right now, America is having a Lobito corridor between Tanzania, DRC, Northern Zambia, and Angola, in order for them to have a rail. And this rail is going to be transporting their resources the same way China has been doing.
Yes.
I want to ask, what does this see?
You're talking about the East African Rail Network, yes.
Not East Africa, from East Africa to Angola. That is South
Okay,
Africa.
yes.
The Lobito corridor.
Yes.
Africa. So what does this see to that? Thank you.
What does he think to? Okay.
What does
Okay, I think I understand. What did you hear that, Stephen?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me let you answer. You've got like 3 minutes.
Okay, so I think I will start with this recent question because I don't remember the first one.
I'll tell you what the first one is. Go ahead. Do this one.
Yeah, the direct and the indirect. I think we don't have direct and the indirect anymore. Because it's all direct. Because it's not like Congo is manufacturing any car. It's not like Congo is manufacturing any phone. It's not like Congo is doing anything with those minerals. And all those minerals are being exported out of the country, which means they're not just being used in Congo. So everybody has to see this. You can tell me that the war that has always happened in two provinces or regards to coltan and cobalt is not direct. But again, that's how I feel like it's not anymore. It's the same thing as colonialism. It's just that they've changed the way of doing stuff.
Of course. Definitely. The other question, which was part of the stats that I read out earlier, is what are the AU doing, if anything at all, the other African countries?
So the other African countries are doing something right now, but like in Burundi, sent armed forces to help the Congolese government to fight against the rebel group, the M23. The South Africans sent their armed, but I wouldn't say that they're really making any difference at all, because instead of the war ending, it's progressive and increasing every day. But yeah, some African countries, yes, are doing something, and other countries, really, most of them are really not concerned about it. But sometimes I understand it, because Congo is facing these atrocities, that's one, and many African countries are also facing similar stuff. Like Burkina Faso, how can it send people in Congo right now? I feel like they also have their problems right now. But again, the one thing that these people did was it divide us, because they got us to a point where even though you're able to do something, you're scared to do it, because you know they're going to attack you next if you do something. So that's the situation that the African countries are in and have been in many years.
But here's the thing. We have the African Union. Nigeria is Nigeria is the head of the ECOWAS right now. But we do have the African Union. And Nigeria is also part of the AU, right?
Yeah.
Why would the AU be afraid to pull an army together to go and save the people of Congo? What is there to be afraid of?
I'm not going to, I don't know how to say this, but the AU or UN or anybody, these organizations are just made for the Western, because what difference have they made in when you think about it? This war didn't start in just 2017. It started in 1996. What did they do then? What are they doing now? So it's just even if we put Congo aside, because maybe they don't have many resources to do a lot of stuff in many countries at once. What are they doing in other countries? And to answer the first question that was answered, I think what we have right now is worse than what we had during colonialism. The reason I say that is not to say that they didn't do worse in colonialism, but we knew they were doing it openly. If you see that the colonial people are doing worse here, you had the ability to move and relocate. But right now we don't even know who's hitting us and where it's coming from. We kind of being hit by people we don't know and coming from every angle. What we have right now is way worse than what we had, and our leaders really have to do something, because we can't keep living like this. And I asked a question, like in Congo, why do we celebrate for Independence Day? What independence do we have in Congo to celebrate every year? And this question asked is the same question asked for many African nations. What independence do we have to celebrate independence every year?
Thank you.
But
I need to now move on, because we're almost done. I have some questions, and I will put the questions to you. But before I go there, I'd like you to talk to us about your president, the president of Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, who has been there since 2018, right? So he's due to be out this year, right? First and foremost, you said there was 11 province. Now there's like more than 20 province. What is the democratic structure of Congo? And do you think there will be an election to get rid of Felix Tshisekedi, who clearly hasn't done much to actually stop this genocide?
First of all, the election part, I don't know, because I wouldn't know.
Okay.
This situation in Congo is very complicated. Mobutu led the country since 65 to 1997. That's over 30 years. So the president who took over after him led from 97 to 2001. He was removed by death because he was killed. Then the person who took over after him in 2001 was his son, who led from 2001 to 2019. Then Kisegeti took over, and Kisegeti, this is his second term, which was actually according to the Congolese law or this is his last.
Your constitution,
our constitution. This is his last term. Is he going to give up? No. They always use the war. We are going through war right now. We don't have enough funds to prepare the election, so we have to postpone it. Something like that always happens. Anyway, so I don't know.
Okay,
but he was supposed to. Yeah.
Okay, so what is it? I know you have a president. What's the democratic structure? Do you have a leader, or the equivalent of a governor or a member of parliament for each province in Congo?
So I think the structure is that we have a president and then we have the governors who lead the provinces. But again, it's not like the structure of many Western countries like in Canada, where every province is about to kind of be like a country on its own and make their own laws and all that. Not in Congo, that's not the structure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Now,
but in Congo,
go ahead.
In Congo, the problem is not the leadership itself. It's that even if we have a good leader with this corruption still going on, the good leader won't be able to do it. Having a good leader with 200 armed groups won't do anything. We really we need good leaders, yes, but we also have to kind of find a way of uniting people within DRC.
Yes, indeed. Hold on, I have a call coming in. We don't have much time. Hello? Hello? Please be very quick. Your name, where you're calling from?
This is Wat Agwan from IKD. Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to your guest.
Good evening, sir.
Go ahead. You have a minute, please, sir.
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, growing up, we watched a movie, I get a point, when I was my year 1, year 2. Hotel Rwanda, and sometimes in April, you get a point. The genocide and pogrom against Tutsis. Now, hearing today that we have some Tutsis in Congo, you get a point. So what I'm asking, and the world is watching, that the killers are killing them in public and they kind of burn and eat their flesh in public. The Congolese government cannot do anything about that. They get a point. The neighboring countries, even Rwanda. But I believe Rwandan government would have sent forces to liberate, our people. But again, this is the real thing. The real thing is, can't Rwandan government relocate Tutsis in Congo to their homeland, to their motherland, for their safety? This is my question. What is Rwanda government doing to relocate them to their own motherland?
What do you mean, doing to relocate whom?
You said, I didn't get that, sorry.
Doing to relocate whom to which motherland?
The Tutsis in Congo.
Right.
Yes, they can be relocated to Rwanda, the original motherland. You get a point? For their own safety. They can.
Okay, I get your question. Okay, all right, sir. Thank you, because I don't have time at all, unfortunately. Thank you. Stay listening. God bless you too. Yes. I also have a question here, which basically, let me try and get it. It says here, Sisogi and Stephen, my name is Mauta from Ikoyi. What exactly, we've asked that question. What is the role of the AU? We've done that. There's also another message from Jaja. All I can say is that the Congolese are their own problems, and the capitalist West are just cashing in on the greed of Congolese and their hatred for each other. I think when we make such statements, you need to clarify. You mean the Congolese government, not the Congolese people and their hatred for each other. Jaja, when you send in these messages, please think. You are talking about human beings, and that message is a pure generalization of the 11th largest country in the world, which has 500 tribes. So just think of the millions of people you're referring to. So be very clear. Refer to the Congolese government. Do not refer to the people as hating each other. Because I'm sorry, that's just wrong. You can see that we don't preview, we don't censor your questions. Otherwise, I would not have read that out, because I think that's injurious to my guest, who is actually Congolese. Let me come back to give you a minute to actually answer what my my caller was saying, that, why can't the Tutsis be expatriated or be moved back for humanitarian reasons to Rwanda instead of being eaten, as you said? I'm going to give you 30 seconds, actually, because the lines are going. And we're almost done.
Yeah, I can definitely answer that question, because the Tutsi are Congolese like any other Congolese. As we all know, the African continent was divided in 1884. That's when Nigeria had their own borders that another country can just also over. Yes, it was done by colonialism, but that's what we go by even today. So when the African continent was divided, though the Tutsi that you say, the Congolese Tutsi were in Congo, it's not like they came after or they came in 90s or sometime like that. The only people that they need to take back are the Hutu who fled Rwanda in 1994 after committing genocide of Tutsi in 1994. Those are the people, those are the Rwandese. But the Tutsi of Congo have been in Congo before Congo became Congo. So the Congolese, like any other Congolese, they were even there before many tribes in Congo. So I don't understand. Even the constitution in Congo says that any person that the independence found in Congo is a Congolese automatically.
Great.
Which happened in 1960, and these people have been in Congo for 100 years. So they're not Rwandese. It's not people who came from Rwanda. There are people who have been in Congo. They're originally from Congo. So I think that's the best way to answer that question.
Excellent. Thank you. A very good question that I have here is, does the Congolese government own a mining or any of the mines? As in, do the country actually own the mines, or do they all belong to foreign owners?
They all belong to foreign owners, and many of them are owned by Chinese. Because if they're, I think the last time I read I read a report highlighting that information was that there are like 20 companies or 20 mining companies in Congo. 15 of them are like Chinese. So many of them are Chinese. I don't know many companies we have that I would say that there is no mining company that belongs to Congo itself.
Thank you.
Which shows how exploited Congo is.
It actually shows the disaster that is. It's a symbol of the state of the country. Stephen Muragwa, thank you so much. Quickly, your Instagram for people to follow.
Yeah, my Instagram is m_, and Gapara is 17. So m_Gapara 17. So Gapara is GAPARA 17.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Have a wonderful weekend, and thank you for educating us about what's going on in Congo. All the best.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much for inviting me.
All the best. And it's out. Lagos, that is the end of another Borderlines, the only show that takes you beyond borders. Next week, we'll be back with even more interesting stories about what's going on in the world. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Yvonne is here with the 6 o'clock news.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.